Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit South Node square opposition or inconjunct one's natal ascendant. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve the South Node, it can be about what we're going away from, the past, what you're naturally proficient in, even I would say, and overdeveloped and redundant qualities. Now, when the transit South Node is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal ascendant. Well, I'm going to elaborate on that. When I say basically adverse aspect, what I'm saying is that squares and oppositions, of course, those aspects are adverse and negative in astrology. Now, when you're talking about the inconjunct aspect, though, inconjunct aspect is actually neutral, but neutral aspects can have good and bad qualities in them. And an inconjunct can also require an adjustment or a transition. So collectively, basically, I do see this as an adverse transit. Now, anyway, when transit South Node is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal ascendant, now, it could manifest in what you're going away from, the past, what you're naturally proficient in, overdeveloped and redundant qualities. These things might conflict with the physical body. It might be something where maybe you're doing something you feel at this time you feel naturally adept in, and it might have some adverse effect on your physical body if you're doing something that you're obviously it's requiring physical labor. Say if this Capricorn, say if this transit South Node's in Capricorn, maybe it's something with construction or architecture, and of course that could take a toll on the vitality and the physical body. And the thing about it is, the South Node is about trying to get away from. So it might be issues. Even with your outer demeanor, which is the ascendant, might be some negative characteristics coming out that you feel are just harder to get away from at this time. Say if the natal ascendant is in Taurus, it could be rather obstinate or stubborn, unyielding qualities. Qualities where something. Taurus is connected with really having a strong aversion or anathema to change, and it might be that you're just these are qualities that may be difficult to get away from. The South Node is what we're going away from. It's also connected with the past. It can be that the past can be something where you physically just can't get away from. It could be a prominent person that was in your past, whether it might be from early childhood. As an example, somebody that you knew that was in early education. Say if the transit South Node is in the third house and it's making a square to your ascendant, perhaps it manifests that way. Another thing too is that looking at this as well, you have this transit, and the ascendant is connected with the appearance as well. So there might be something about your appearance that you're just trying to really get away from at this time, and you feel like no matter what you do, it's just not happening. At this time, say if the ascendant is in Pisces or Sagittarius, it could be certain heaviness. It might be being overweight. Even if the ascendant is in the zodiac sign Cancer, Cancer ascendant has a tendency to be fleshy, to be heavier than average in weight. And the thing is, it could be somebody that from your past might have a detrimental effect on your outlook. It might make it more negative than it usually is. Say if the ascendant is in Capricorn, the ascendant in Capricorn to begin with can have could be somewhat pessimistic and negative as far as their outlook may go. If you have the transit of the South Node basically making an adverse aspect to it, it may manifest in that even perhaps getting worse at that time of the transit. Now, the ascendant again is connected with the energy, the vitality. It could be doing things where, the South Node is connected with overdeveloped, redundant qualities. And say if the transit South Node is in Virgo and it's making an adverse aspect to the natal ascendant, it could be maybe borderline hypochondriac tendencies, if that word is still used to describe that kind of behavior. Could be, somebody, it could be cleaning incessantly, having things really, precise order if you're organizing a home, and being overly, really, punctilious with details, to the point where, you become agonizingly, precise with things. And it can have a negative impact on the physical body, or I should say the vitality and energy as an example. Now, another thing too is that the ascendant is also connected with new beginnings, and you might be torn between doing things that you feel comfortable in at this point in time, where your comfort zone is with the transit of the South Node, and it might challenge what you want to do. As far as new beginnings, if the natal ascendant is in Taurus, the new beginnings can be connected with maybe work as a stockbroker. It could be work as a pawnbroker. It may be doing something with agriculture, architecture, banking, finance, something along, could be something connected with that. And what it can be is that you might be doing something with the South Node where you feel comfortable in, that might be conflicting with that at that point in time of the transit. Now, another thing is that the ascendant is also about making first impressions. So it can be a time where when you have this transit, you might feel this time where it may be, there might be some difficulty in making that first impression, or maybe you're just since the South Node is what you're going away from. You might be, it might be something where you're dealing with, a situation that you're trying to get away from, and you're not overly concerned, with these first impressions on others at this time. Or it could be that somebody from your past might be having some negative effect on you, to the point where you're trying to make a first impression on somebody and maybe it just doesn't come out well. If you're dominated by somebody, somebody from the past maybe had a negative effect on you in some cases. It could be something too where the ascendant is also, again, the ascendant is connected with our early childhood, and the early and it can be something where if you're trying to do some activities connected with somebody from the early childhood, as an example, it might be conflicting with what you feel comfortable in at this time, your comfort zone. Say if you have the transit South Node, say it's in Pisces in the 12th house. It could be doing something, playing fantasy games in solitude or seclusion, or meditation by yourself, and maybe it's just something where it might be at this time where you don't feel really up to doing things with someone that was prominent in your early childhood, or it could even be a grandparent in some cases. Now, the ascendant is also associated with the outer demeanor and the qualities that you naturally express. And the thing about this is something from your past is affecting you, and might not be affecting those qualities that are naturally expressed very well. In other words, you might be bringing out the negative characteristics of the ascendant during this time, because there might be something that's from the past, whether it's a person, what have you. In some isolated cases, maybe it's a criminal background that's causing upsetment, that is such where it's causing more negative energy connected with the ascendant that is being projected outwardly. So anyway, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now the thing about this is another way this transit may be expressed. It could be, again, reiterating what I believe I said previously, someone from the past may adversely affect your vitality and energy. Now, let's say if the transit south node is in Capricorn in the 11th house as an example, it could be maybe a person that might have, might have mentored you, which in Capricorn can be about mentoring. It could be in astrology or computers or electronics. Um, Maybe it's somebody you might have mentored in that. 11th house could be connected with astrology, computers, and electronics, as some examples. Now, something that may be affecting you to your detriment may conflict with your new beginnings at this time. Now, say if the transit south node is in Scorpio in the 4th house, it could be some crisis, which is Scorpio, that could be in the home. Say if transit south node is in Pisces in the 4th house, it could be a flooding condition or a chemical leak in the home, as some examples. Now, also, too, overdeveloped and redundant qualities of someone, maybe you, or some, or, could be something where those overdeveloped, redundant qualities might conflict with the energy that you may be projecting outwardly. Now, let's say, and this could be from somebody else. Let's say, for example, the transit south node is in Aries in the 7th house. This might be very acerbic, or exceptionally outspoken and acerbic, which is Aries. It could be a significant other. It could be a legal opponent, an open adversary, since we're talking about the 7th house in this example. And also, too, what you feel comfortable doing, which is the south node, could have an adverse effect. Really, again, reiterating what I said before, in the physical body. So, depending where the south node is, if you're, the transit south node is in Sagittarius, and it's in the 5th house, it could be doing, something with sports, with the lover, with the child. It could be something you're really enamored with and truly enjoy. And it might be doing something that's, negatively affecting, how you feel physically at this time and making you feel maybe run down. Because the ascendant, again, is connected with the physical body, its vitality. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.